What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be doing a pilot tutorial for the AH-64 Apache project. Now, this video is just going to cover the pilot seat and getting the bird up in the air and flying. This will not be covering the gunner seats. Depending on how well this first video does, I may go ahead and do a video for the actual pilot seat. But for today, we're just going to be doing the gunner seat. For today, we're just going to be doing the pilot seat and how to get the bird up in the air, work through its systems, and all that jazz. And for the sake of the video, since we're not doing any sort of combat related anything today, we're just going to be rocking no pylons. There's no ammunition for the gun, and I cut down on the fuel to 70% fuel capacity because this aircraft does factor in the weight into its flight model. So, for example, if you load down a bunch of AGMs onto all your pylons and you're rocking your gun fully loaded, this will affect your engine torque and how the aircraft behaves and whatnot. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the pilot seat here. I'm just gonna scroll wheel here. Now, first thing you might notice is this little green X, the center of my screen, following where I look. And one thing to get out of the way real quick is that this is not a clickable cockpit. What you have to do in order to interact with anything, because if you go in here and you just start clicking on things, nothing's going to happen, right? So what you have to do is go into your menu. You're going to go down to configure. You're going to go to your controls. And then for the show, you're going to bring this drop down. And then you're going to go all the way, scroll down here to the bottom, where it says mods, and then Apache official. And from here, you're going to scroll down to crosshair action. Click on that, and you need to bind this to something. Now, I have this bound to some buttons that work for me. The main one I use is spacebar. Again, that's just what works for me. If you have side mouse buttons or something that you want to do or to configure for yourself, whatever works for you. But go ahead and get that bound. Once we have that bound, we're going to hit OK, OK, and continue. And now we're able to start interacting with things. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to our left panel here, and we're going to go to where it says RTR. This is rotor brake. And, currently the rotor brake is on, so we're going to go ahead and set this to the off position because we need to get that rotor unlocked. This is our battery here, so we're going to go ahead and toggle the battery. Now there's no actual physical indication here. The way that you can tell is the visual cues. You come over here and you see your left MPD, your right MPD in this little screen up here. You have these visual cues, these coming online. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our right, and right around this area here, we have IHADSS monocle. Go ahead and toggle that. Now, if you don't have any sort of symbology popping up in your IHADSS monocle, you come over here to IHADSS brightness. Oh, no, excuse me, hold on. Gotta hit our APU first. There we go. So if after hitting your APU, if you still don't have any sort of symbology popping up in your IHADSS monocle, you can come over here and you can hit IHADSS brightness to turn it on and off. It's your PNVS day-night toggle. So if you wanted to come over here and to get your PNVS up, you can do that, and you can toggle that. Right now, it's just between a day and night toggle. You cannot actually physically at this point in time, I don't believe anyways, actually physically adjust the brightness manually. You just have the two modes. So we're going to go ahead and turn the PNVS off. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to start getting some of our systems here online. Now, what I generally like to start with after getting my APU on is to come over here to my fire suppression system. So fire engine 1, fire APU, fire engine 2. You know, all these stay ready. And these are your fire suppression systems for if you get hit and your engine 1 or engine 2 goes out, you can hit your primary and reserve fire bottles to suppress those fires. So what we're going to go ahead and do from here is we're going to hit this once. All right, we got that audio cue letting us know that those systems are in fact working. We're going to hit it again. And it passed the second test. We know that because of the audio cues and the visual cues that came up here. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to hit that one more time just to reset it in the center. Getting rid of this master caution here. Now, what we're going to do from here is we're going to go to our fire control radar right here at FCR. We're going to hit that once, and then we're going to hit on our keyboards Control R. This is going to turn our radar on, and you can the way that you can tell that it is on is you have the visual cue of this little indicator here moving back and forth to the left and right, and then we have the symbology on our IHADSS. You see across the top there. We have the little dot moving back and forth and the line on the bottom moving back and forth as well. These are our visual cues that the radar is in fact on. If your server allows for third person, you can also inspect the fire control radar dome on top of the rotor blades here, spinning back and forth to the left and to the right. So now that we know that this is on, what we're going to go ahead and do from here is turn on our C-scope. Now what this will do is when the fire control radar picks up a target, it will throw it up on our actual IHADSS, and we will be able to see that symbology pop up. Like so for here, it's picking up that radar and the CRAM, and it's picking it up with the triangular symbology for both of those to indicate that those are surface to air entities. Now we can cover it more in a future video about the different icons and what they correlate to. But for now, we're going to keep going with getting our systems up. So we set the C-scope up. What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go over to our TSD. We're going to go over here to nav. We're going to hit that. So that says ACK. We're going to go over to map. We're going to hit that and get this zoomed out. Now I'm using a custom map, the Habante's Military Training Grounds. So I don't actually have a proper GPS here like I normally would if I was on, say, like a base game map like AHADSS. Now from here, what we're going to go ahead and do is go up to ASE. Auto page, we're going to set that to track. Our IR jammer, we're going to set that to standby, and our radar jammer, set that to standby. Now, what this is going to do, having this set to track, is it's going to allow us to track anything that is locking onto us, targeting us. It will be displayed here, and the IR jammers and the radar jammers will attempt to jam any sort of tracking that comes our way. We also have a flare counter. I did reduce in Zeus the helicopter's munitions to 0% to save on weight. Normally, you'd be able to see more than 0, hopefully, flares right there. Now that we got those systems out of the way here, what we're going to go ahead and do is come back, hit M here. We go to our ENG for engine, and bring up our engine display here. We're going to keep our fuel page here, and this lets us know how much fuel we have. And the way we can tell here is we have on our left side, we have our fuel in pounds. So we have 1,711 pounds of fuel over here. This will display our calculated flow. It will tell us for engine 1 and engine 2, and then our combined total burn rate. Once we get the engines up and going here, we'll take another look at this. We have our endurance and then our total endurance. So what this is our this will change and adjust based on our calculated flow combined with our total fuel remaining. This will tell us here at next to the total number, it will tell us how much flight time we have based on our fuel remaining in the calculated flow, which is subject to change depending on how much or how little you are demanding of your engine. So we're going to go ahead and just come over here to the left side. We're going to hit engine 1 start and then engine 2 start. I'm not sure if this is a bug with the Arma mod, but I'm fairly certain these blades aren't supposed to start spinning just yet. So what we're going to go ahead and do is keep going through this tutorial as if that these blades were not spinning up like this. Now, what we would normally do under normal circumstances is wait for these pressures right here to balance out. We're going to wait for the NG here percentage to reach 23.0 and 23.0 for engines 1 and 2 together. Just recheck my volume here. Okay. Once these pressures have leveled out, what we're going to go ahead and do, and also it doesn't hurt to double check here, make sure that all of these systems aren't doing anything wacky. What we're going to go ahead and do is come over here and we're going to set engines 1 and 2 to idle. You're going to notice that these pressures are going to start going up, as well as the NG and NP percentages. And along with that, you'll notice our calculated flow has changed, as well as our endurance time. Now that we've waited for all of these pressures here to go ahead and level out, we can tell by the NP percentage, 0.57, 0.57, these are within constraints of each other. NG percentage, 67.9, 67.9% for engines 1 and 2. These are with constraints with each other. They're not too far apart from each other at all. They're the same number. And the same is true of these numbers here. So now that we have all this squared away, go ahead and move engines 1 and 2 to fly. You're going to notice these bars shot up here. Again, we want to wait for all of these numbers here to balance out, all of these numbers here to balance out. And then we're going to go ahead and we can go ahead and look at our fuel. Again, calculated flow is much higher than it was earlier now that we've actually set our engines up to fly, and we are demanding more of the engines by having the powers all the way up. And of course, the calculated flow rate is going to be even higher once we actually start getting up and flying. Currently, sitting at where we're at, we have 2 hours and 53 minutes of flight time with under our current parameters here. Now what I'm going to do is get my controls here. There we go. All right. So when we're getting ready to take off here, some things that we're going to need to keep into consideration is our torque. So you'll see here we have torque, and both engines 1 and 2 are at 18% torque right now, because we're not doing anything, we're not demanding anything crazy of them. We're literally just sitting here. They're just maintaining RPMs at this point. And we can reconfirm this without having to look at this page at all. Say we have a different page up, right? Say we have our map up or something. We can't easily look down and check what our torque is. If you look in the top left hand corner of our IHADSS, you'll see an 18%. That is our overall torque of both engines. That is a visual indicator of that we can rely on. So now that we know how to find the torque, what is a good torque to maintain? You want to stay at what I generally like to practice is no higher than 99% torque. You can do 100. You can even do a little bit over 100. I don't recommend it. If you start getting to the point, and I'll show you for the video what it looks like when you start over torquing your engines. It's not great. These bars here will start turning red, and you'll actually start damaging your engines and cause an engine failure. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and turn off our APU, and we are going to get ourselves airborne here. So I'm going to start raising the collective. All right, you see that torque is going up. You see our FCR is picking up these vehicles down here. Such a beautiful mod. Alright. So what we're going to try to do, so I'm going to show you. Once we bring the bird to a hover here, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and throw it an auto hover just so we can get a good look here. Now, when we're moving our torque, it's not that bad. I'm going to go ahead and throw it into an auto hover here. And you'll see our torque here shot up 30%. And it's still kind of climbing just a little bit here. Now, if I try to raise my collective to get some altitude, then we're going to get out of ground effect here. Might not be a problem. I don't think we weigh enough. Keep in mind, we're running no pylons, no ammunition, and reduced fuel capacity. But you'll see that just holding a hover here, we're kind of using a lot of torque here. And that gets exaggerated when you're using, when you have your pylons loaded down. And you'll notice that movement greatly reduced the torque, well, for a second there. So it's always good practice generally to keep moving when you're in the bird. Go ahead and just fly around a little bit here. Just handle pretty smooth. You know, not like a little bird. I don't really know how to describe it. I almost want to say she almost handles like a Blackhawk, but not quite. go ahead and touch down at this airfield. All right, I'm gonna go for a little shutdown here. Go ahead and Control R, turn our radar off. Go ahead, power down our engines here. Not sure why that happened. All right, so that was just a quick tutorial of the pilot seat, getting the pilot seat up and going, flying around the with this bird. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. And depending on how well this video does, I may do a follow-up video, maybe more pilot stuff or a co-pilot gunner perspective and tutorial. But without further ado, if you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And like I said, drop a comment below. With that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.